All right, Rick's going to give some opening comments, and we're going to take your questions.
Obviously, that's a great win for our guys in the program. There's no question in my mind that LSU was the NCAA tournament team, and obviously got some guys on the team that's going to play basketball in the NBA at some point in time. I think they're a really talented team, probably the second most talented team in the SEC. I thought in the first half there was three things that hurt us. The offensive rebounds, they killed us on the boards there, so we had to address that. The second thing is we fouled way too much and got them to the free throw line. And then towards the end of the first half, we started to turn the basketball over. So I thought that's the way that they scored. And so if we could address those three things in the second half, then we'd have a chance to win this ball game. Fred Thomas came out in the second half and gave us a lot of life. I thought Raquez gave us a lot of life in the second half, but Raquez unfortunately got that third foul right away. But you're talking about a team that's the #1 scoring team in the SEC, and we did a great job on them defensively and did some things offensively to help us win this basketball game. I told our team before the game that we had played well against Georgia. We had played well at Ole Miss. Each individual person on the team just needed to do one thing. It doesn't need to be a huge thing, just one little thing. If each individual person does one little thing on this team to help us get to this win, then it'll come to pass. But I think our guys focused in, whether it be closeout, whether it be a defensive rebound, whether it just be a rotation on defense. So I thought our guys did some things there to help the team win.
Fred mentioned that y'all went over some 2-minute drills in practice yesterday, and it obviously seemed to help with the 19-10 run. Just talk about that.
I don't know if it helped because we were pretty bad there down the stretch of the game. I mean, the worst thing you can do in those situations is foul. We fouled 3 times. We got to continue to do late game situations because we've been in a lot of close ball games. And so we don't want a late game situation to come out and bite us because we haven't covered it. So we just want to put those guys in those situations in practice. Now you can talk about some things. Even at the end of the game there, I think it was about 1 minute and 30-some seconds left, and we got the defensive rebound, and we had the ball, and we went in and we threw the ball right inside to Gavin right away. And it's like, hey, fellas, you guys haven't post-fed Gavin all game long, and now you want to post-feed him with 32 seconds on the shot clock. So he gets it in there, and I knew they were going to post-trap. And so I didn't want it to go in there right away. So post-trap, he travels. So that's the worst thing you can do is you want to take time off that clock. So we'll use this as a learning tool. It's best to use it as a learning tool after a win. You don't want to use it as a learning tool on a loss.
What was different down the stretch, though, from a Georgia and Ole Miss where you're trailing with, I think, 3:55 to go, but you come back and actually win?
Well, I thought our zone was the biggest difference there. You got to be careful when you play a zone when you got guys like Hornsby out there who can shoot the basketball. Josh Gray and Quarterman can really get into the teeth of the defense. But then you're really more worried about when the shot goes up on the rim because now you'll have specific blockout assignments in that zone. But I thought our zone really kind of put them on their heels a little bit because I thought they started the game with Josh Gray in some ball screen situations and started to break our defense down. So we wanted to try the zone and it ended up being beneficial for us.
Coach Chicken had 14 points, but he had 5 assists and 2 steals as well. Just talk about his effort today.
Yeah, I mean, once again, Chicken hadn't practiced the past 2 days and really didn't know for sure if he'd be able to play, and if he was able to play, how effective he would be. It's mighty strange that Chicken's back didn't hurt him as much on offense, but it hurt him a lot more on defense and defensive transition. So that's something we got to kind of figure out with the medical staff, how we can get him to feel good on both ends of the court. But it's good that he was able to set foot on the court for us because it gives us a presence that we need.
What is his status going forward? Kind of just a day-to-day thing, or?
Al said this from the very beginning. Things are scary with backs. They can have surgeries. They can tell you this or that. But when it's all said and done, doctors really have no idea about backs. It's just going to be a game-to-game situation and a day-to-day situation. Whatever we got to do to help him get to the point where he's in game, then we have to do that. And our guys have got to be mature enough to handle that. It's not Chicken being mature enough to handle it. It can't be like, well, why ain't Chicken practicing and then he gets to play? Well, hey, it's a different situation. So our guys have got to be mature enough. If that's the way it's got to be a Larry Bird situation where he is not practicing as much to play games, then so be it.
What do you think when he's diving around and doing all that? Do you encourage, just go all out anyway?
Well, it seems like he dives more now that his back has been hurt. No, he's got to play the game. If he goes out there apprehensive or not doing the things that he needs to do in order to help the team win, it doesn't really help us to have him on the court.
You mentioned Rockwell's foul trouble. I think he had 6 straight points after that media timeout down the stretch. Just talk about his play in the last few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it hurts us. I mean, I think he only played 6 minutes in the first half, and then he comes out right away. I think in the first 2 minutes he gets his 3rd foul. Now, I actually thought about leaving him out there, but Oliver Black had played well. He hadn't played bad, so we wanted to put Oliver out there and play him some and then bring Rockwell back. The thing about Rockwell I thought that was good was he didn't lose his aggression. A lot of times guys get in foul trouble when they don't play aggressive on the offensive end or the defensive end. I thought he continued to be aggressive, which is what we need him to be, because he's just not a good basketball player if he's not being aggressive.
Fred had 18 points, kind of been struggling last few games. He kind of said it's because of his practice habits and the way that's been going. Do you see a correlation between the two there?
I would pay somebody a lot of money if they could come in and figure out the enigma of Fred Thomas. A lot of money. Because there was nothing I said to him at halftime. There was nothing I did differently. I didn't give him a Vince Lombardi speech or anything like that at all. Just really started him. You know, I thought Travis had struggled, and I didn't want to put Demetrius out there because he's a freshman. I didn't want to start off the game with an unforced turnover or something like that. So I really didn't say anything. Fred practices well all the time. I mean, sometimes he gets a little down on himself and he has a little mood swings here and there. But for the most part, he does what he's supposed to do. So I can't figure it out. But we need him to play like that all the time in the second half. And I had an individual meeting with him, and I talked to him about, I just want him to be consistent. You know, I don't want a 24-point game, then a 2-point game, a 15-point game, then a 6-point game. You pick a number, whatever you like it to be, whether it be 11 points, 12 points, and just average that and be consistent. That's what I would like. So he really took that to heed and didn't do anything in the first half and scored 18 in the second half.
Can you talk about the job that I.J. Grady did on Gray, because physically Gray's a bigger, stronger guy, but I.J. didn't back down. He's got into him, seemed to disrupt the ball moving side to side.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Gray is a guy who led the junior college in scoring last year, so he's a guy that can really create offense for himself and for others. And then when you got those other talented basketball players around there, if you go start helping on Josh Gray all the time, then it leads to easy buckets for Mickey and Martin and other guys out there. So we got to make sure that we want to guard Josh Gray as much as we can, one-on-one, and not get help involved. And I thought I.J. did a really good job of that. And plus, LSU plays a lot of guys, a lot of minutes, a short amount of guys, a lot of minutes. And so we wanted to make sure we kept our pressure up, because by the time they get to that 35th minute, that 38th minute, we wanted that to wear on them.
What difficult was it to game plan for a guy like Jordan Mickey? Obviously, 25 and 20 kind of speaks for itself, but defensively and offensively just kind of changes things for both teams, on both sides.
Yeah, it's hard because Jordan Mickey affects the game on both ends of the court. Defensively, he's a guy that's a rim protector, and he's always going to be around trying to block shots. But the thing we talked about is on the other end is we got to keep him off the glass. Now, we didn't do a good job of that, obviously. But I think that happens when your defense breaks down. When your defense breaks down, all of a sudden the shot goes up, and you're not near Mickey, he's going to get that offensive rebound. So I thought we got caught in rotations and gave him some opportunities to go in there and get offensive rebounds.
Talked about in Oxford winning the close games, not just playing. What does the win mean to the program and you as a coach?
Well, it means a lot, because it means that we have some confidence. And it's not just a win, Michael. It's a win against a quality ball club that I think is an NCAA tournament team. So I thought we had an opportunity to do that against Georgia. I think they're an NCAA tournament team. And then obviously winning at Ole Miss is hard to do. And so we wanted to make sure we could take that next step. But you know, the thing we wanted to do when it's all said and done, Michael, is stay the course and keep our guys together. And this obviously helps you do that when you win.
What was it like in the locker room after the game to look at your guys after, another performance that you said you guys are making strides, but to come out with the win here at home?
Well, it's really important because they're still kids, and so they still want results. It's a microwave society, so you can talk all you want to. Like when I push the button, I want popcorn, okay? And so they wanted to get that win, so they got the win. But now I talk to them about the next step here. The best thing they can do to help this team from this point on right now, getting ready for Tuesday, is to take care of their bodies, whether it means getting Gatorade, water, ice bath, going in and see our athletic trainer and seeing multiple times to take care of injuries. The best, you can't wait until Tuesday and say, Coach, my leg is hurting. Well, we should have took care of that on Saturday night, on Sunday and Monday. So you have to make sure that you're always teaching and making sure you help your guys mature.
All right, we'll see you guys at 2 o'clock on Monday.